I want you to listen to what Brother Biden had to say. Because for me, it was like, Brother Biden, where was this passion? We've been missing this kind of passion for Build Back Better. And as much as Build Back Better has a big support, over 60% already, but hell, this kind of passion could prevent anybody who was trying to object to it from objecting. Check this out.
Talk about the importance of keeping your word of trust. Do you believe Senator Manchin kept his word to you? And how do you rebuild trust with progressives in your party to advance your legislation now?
You know, I told you before, you've heard me say this before, some people think maybe I'm not Irish because I don't hold a grudge. Look, I want to get things done. I still think there's a possibility of getting Build Back Better done. And what I don't want to do is get into, and Joe went on TV today, and I don't know whether it's TV or not, I'm told he was speaking to the Liberal caucus in the House and said, Joe Biden didn't mislead you, I misled you. And so, look, I'm not looking for, let me say something. You saw what happened yesterday. All the talk about how my Build Back Better plan was going to increase inflation, going to cause these debts and all the like. What happened? Goldman Sachs and others said, if we don't pass Build Back Better, we're in trouble because it's going to grow the economy. And without it, we're not going to grow. And what happened? Stock prices went way down. It took a real dip. If you take a look, everybody thinks because I quoted 17 Nobel laureates saying this is going to help inflation. Think about it in terms of you're a hard-working person and you're making 60 grand if you're alone, or if you're a mom or just on her own, or if you're making 80 grand, mom and dad 90 grand like a lot of people do, and you're worried about inflation, you should be worried about it because it's a devastating thing for people who are working class and middle class folks. It really hurts. Where is most of the cost now? The cost is finding in gasoline, even though I was able to bring it down 12 cents a gallon, will come down more, I believe. We talked about what the cost in food prices going up, et cetera. But look what's in Build Back Better. Child care. You can reduce it by up to 70%. That'll be the difference between 20 million women who aren't back in the workforce being able to go back if you pass it. We're talking about health care, insulin. In a situation, we got 200,000 kids with type 1 diabetes. You know what it's costing? It cost somewhere between 10 cents and $10 to come up with the formula, okay, a while ago, right? You know what it's costing on average? $560, $640 a month, up to $1,000 a month. What do you do if you're a mom and a dad working with minimum wage, busting your neck? You look at your kid, and you know if you don't get that vaccine for him, if you don't get that drug for him, if you don't get be able to take that, what happens? They're likely to go in a coma, maybe die. Not only do you put the kid's life at stake, you strip away all the dignity of a parent looking at their child. I'm not joking about this. Imagine being a parent looking at a child and you can't afford. You have no house to borrow against. You have no savings. It's wrong. But all the things in that bill are going to reduce prices and cost for middle class and working class people. It's going to reduce their costs. What's inflation? Having to pay more than the money you have because things have gone up. Well, bring down all those costs across the board from child care to a child care tax credit. But I'm not supposed to be having this press conference right now.
Mr. President, did Senator Manchin break his commitment to you? When you announced the framework, the White House says that all 50 senators were believed to get behind it, all 50 Democratic senators. So did Senator Manchin break his commitment to you?
Senator Manchin and I are going to get something done.
All right, there are two things that he said there that's very important, right? And I don't think I heard anybody capture it on MSNBC or CNN. I don't know if they mentioned it while I wasn't listening or whatever. But there's one thing he said kind of under his throat. And he said, Senator Manchin met with the Progressive Caucus in the House. And he said, it's not the president who misled you, it's me, or something of that nature. He kind of said that in passing, and he said it under his throat. It's kind of like, why would he say that, right? Did it happen? Maybe it happened, but why would he come out and say that? And then he goes ahead and he says, Senator Manchin and I are going to get something done. Okay? And then we hear through the grapevine that apparently what happened just before Sunday, him going on to Fox News, is evidently somebody released some sort of negative information on Manchin, some of the staff working on, the Democratic staff working on the Build Back Better as they were negotiating, in order to prod him to just say yes. Apparently somebody released some sort of information. He's not talking about it. They're not talking about it. We don't know what that is. Okay? So I think there was more to that no on Sunday than meets the eye. And we'll see if I'm right on this one, but I think I am. I detected something not only with him, but also with Pramila Jayapal. Pramila said on, I think it was Lawrence or on Rachel or one of them, she's speaking to Manchin, and the tonality that she had wasn't that saying this stuff is over. So if you're reading between the lines, it seemed like that was a stunt to me. I could be wrong, but it seemed like ultimately it's going to turn out to be a stunt. But stunt or no stunt, we have to hit Manchin hard for giving the possibility, and I think I said this in the last video. His statement was it increases inflation, it increases the budget deficit, even though it's paid for, and all these things he talks about, right? But there are two mistakes there, or three mistakes. One, it does not increase inflation. Two, he says he cannot vote for anything that he cannot explain to his constituents. You have to be fairly dumb not to be able to tell the poorest people in the country that we are putting out a policy that's going to inflate your wages so that your kid can go to school, so that your kid can go to the dentist, so that your mama can get some teeth, so that your mama can get a glasses for her eyes. How difficult is that to explain to your constituents? And when they say, and how is it going to be paid for? To say, well, you remember all those guys that took that coal out of the ground and burnt it and made millions while you got arsenic poisoning, while you got mercury poisoning? You remember all those guys that pulled the oil out of Pennsylvania and all these other places and left the contamination between the strata in the ground? Remember all of that? Well, we are going to ask them to foot the bill for something they should have foot long time ago. And we're going to stop listening to those slaves who are always there to protect their masters, even as they're getting their butts whipped. You know, those people who protect the plutocracy. Those people who are poor, but are always saying, you can't take that from the rich man. As if he somehow earned it. You know what I mean? So no, we're not going to go there at all, folks. That's not where we're going to go. So that's the second thing about Manchin. And the third thing is he is simply lying. He goes out and he says, I don't want to give my people, and you know, this is the best part. He doesn't want to give his people a break because they will go and buy drugs and go hunting. You know, in the Reagan days, they used to do that with the black woman, right? The black woman, she's a welfare queen. Oh, Manchin wanted maximum expansion. So he decided, I'm not going for the black woman now. I am going to attack my own people. Hey, you gun-touting West Virginians? Nah. That's no, we're going. The West Virginia gun-touting folk. Because you know they're not talking about folks in the ghetto and the barrios now. They're talking about Appalachia. So what I try to tell you, why I always talk about we need to unite the ghettos, the barrios, and Appalachia, is because we have more in common than these charlatanes that are trying to separate you, that are trying to hurt you, because they need you in a poor state. Hey folks, if you're just joining us on YouTube, hit that thumbs up, please. If you're on Facebook, hit that like. We want to make sure we get maximal throughput. And those of you that are on YouTube, click that join button. If you're not on YouTube, you know what I'm talking about. So that is what's important for you to know, folks. And it's important for you to hear this from me, but not only from me. They need to hear it from you. And you have Trumpists in your family. You have right-wingers in your family, like I do as well. You got to point these things out. Nicely, of course. You want to kind of point us right? Give them a book, which is called It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors. Actually, it makes a good Christmas book. You guys going to have Christmas on the table? Say, hey guys, I'm not going to discuss politics with you until I give you this book, which is How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors. And then you say, read this book, and then let's have a little chat. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.